Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, you are absolutely welcome, and I do hope that you stick around by clicking the subscribe icon down below. Anyway, today I want to give a special shout out to all my returning subscribers. You guys are amazing, and I want to thank you so much for sticking around and staying subscribed to the channel. So today guys, we are talking about something very important. This is actually something that has been very highly requested. People have reached out to me on Instagram, on LinkedIn, to help them look over their CVs and tell them things they need to change, in order for them to apply for UK job vacancies. So I thought, why not make a video so that everybody can learn a thing or two. So yeah, today guys, we're talking about what your CV should look like when you're applying to UK job vacancies. So get ready to jot some things down. So guys, for the longest time, I myself had like a very Nigerian CV, right? But I knew I needed to make a change when I started applying for UK job vacancies. I knew I needed to rebrand my CV and make it look, very in the UK way. It needed to be in the preferred UK format. So I knew I had a lot of work to do, right? So I reached out to some of my friends who had been making applications to UK job vacancies, and they were kind enough to share their CVs with me, which I was able to use to curate my own CV. And guys, I must tell you, it was the best rebranding ever. Guys, this rebranding took my CV from Blair to like, A game, and I even started getting interview invites from Nigerian companies because I was just, whiling away time waiting for my UK job to click. So yeah, this will help if you're also applying to Nigerian jobs and not just UK jobs. All right, so guys, let's get right into it. Let me tell you all the things that you need to have on your CV and things that should not be on your CV when you're applying to UK job vacancies. Okay, so guys, some things that should definitely not be on your CV include your age and date of birth. Trust me, nobody really wants to know how old or how young you are here because they don't care, right? So it's best to leave out that detail. It's very personal detail, so really there's no need to put it on your CV and show it to the whole world because your CV is probably going to pass through several hands, so really what's the need? Anyway, so yeah, your age and your date of birth is one thing that you do not need to have on your CV. Next up on the list of things that should not be on your CV, guys, is your religion. Really, it's a free world these days, right? You can belong to any religion that you want without needing to broadcast it. So there is no need to put it on your CV. If you think it's going to, create some kind of bias and all of that, why have it on your CV? There is no need for you to have your religion on your CV. Next thing that you do not need to have on your CV, guys, is your full address. Don't worry, if they want to communicate with you, they'll send anything they need to your email or contact you via your mobile number. So there is really no need for you to have your full length address on your CV. Number 1 and 2, Bagara Estates, phase 1, phase 2, really, there is no need, all right? Keep it short and simple. You can simply put in the state and the country that you reside in. This is enough information for them to work with. Trust me, there's no need to list, the neighbor's address and all of that and all of that on your CV, right? So just keep it short and simple. If you live in Lagos, you can simply put Lagos, Nigeria. That is more than enough for any employer to work with. All right. Another thing that you should not have on your CV, guys, is objectives that don't make sense. I know a lot of us tend to put in objectives just to state, our goals and objectives, why we want to join the company and all of that. If you are going to include an objective, it should make sense, right? Don't write, oh, I want to join a company or something like that. Like, of course, we know you want to join a company. That's why you're applying for roles outside your current job. So yeah, there's no need to just write, things that are not so necessary. If it's not necessary, take it out. That's like the number one rule, right? If you don't think it's necessary, take it out of your CV. So guys, if you are putting in an objective at all, you should make sure that it makes sense, it resonates with the employer and gives them reasons to want to employ you, not give them reasons to not want to employ you because your objective is like just so vague and irrelevant to the job role, So yeah, if you are putting in an objective, make sure it at least helps your case. Right? So another thing that you don't want on your CV, guys, is colorful texts and fonts. You can use bold, italics, if you put too much of all of these things, it just tends to throw some people off, and you do not want that. So keep it as simple as you can, right? You know, use the classic text fonts, use the proper professional ones, and don't overcrowd it with, you know, a lot of bold, italics, hyperlinks, so many things. You know, if so many things are going on the CV, it can literally like throw some people off. So you do not want that to happen. So you need to keep it as simple and as professional as possible. Guys, another thing that you do not want on your CV is bad grammar. Please, as much as possible, try to proofread your CV. Go over it. If you are tired of going over it, you can give it to a third party who will come with a fresh set of eyes to just look over your CV and tell you if they've spotted any bad grammar or anything that should not be on your CV. So yes, guys, bad grammar can literally, like some people, bad grammar literally just throws them off. Like they cannot stand it. So avoid that situation. Just make sure that your CV is free of grammatical errors, right? Next thing, guys, this one is highly debatable, and I know some people are probably going to come for me, but I don't think you should include photographs on your CV. I know this is acceptable in some countries of the world, but I don't think the UK permits photographs on CVs. I don't think they want to see that. But yeah, basically, I don't think photographs are a necessary detail. Do they really need to know what you look like? I don't know, but I feel like it's an unnecessary detail. So if you have your picture on your CV, it just might be, you might be pretty or ugly, but you just might be throwing off some people without knowing it. So why give yourself that unnecessary disadvantage when you could just stay clear of pictures on your CV? You know, there is really no need to have a picture on your CV, guys. So if you have a picture on your CV, you should definitely consider taking it out, especially when you are applying for UK job vacancies. It is simply not, you know, a preferred thing to do, right? Anyway, guys, to wrap up the list of things that should not be on your CV, you just need to make sure that you do not have unnecessary details. Keep your CV as short, concise, and professional as possible so that you can get the right information to your prospective employer without bogging them down with unnecessary details. Like they probably have a lot of CVs to look through, right? So you do not want to get them stuck and bored and tired while reviewing your own CV. So keep it short, sweet, and simple. Another thing that you guys should definitely note is, I know this is quite popular, I feel like a lot of people should already know this, you do not want to use unprofessional email addresses, right? Gosh, I also have email addresses that are not professional, and I do not use those for job applications. So it is worth it. Creating email addresses are like literally free, so it is worth creating a brand new email for, you know, jobs, job applications, and all of that. I mean, you could just create one that you know you'll be using solely for applying for jobs and all of that. You do not want to include unprofessional email addresses in your CV. Say something like, I'm tempted to tell you guys my own unprofessional email address. But it's very hilarious, so I'm not going to tell you guys, okay? But yeah, make sure your email address is professional. You can use your first name and your last name at gmail.com or at yahoo.com or anything like that, but make sure it's, you know, professional. Okay, guys, so that brings us to the end of the things that should not be on your CV, right? So guys, you know that at the beginning of this video, I said that the template is not one size fits all. CVs are not one size fits all. You know, you have to tailor it and work around it in the best way possible, right? But there are some key things that should still be in like most CVs, right? And some of these things include your heading. Now, the heading probably should be your name, right? You should probably have like your full name and your qualifications by the side. I feel like that is professional enough. You should not have curriculum vitae as your heading. We already know it's a CV. Don't worry, you don't need to call it out that, oh, the full meaning of CV is curriculum vitae. Nobody needs all of that detail, all right? So instead of curriculum vitae, you should probably have your full name and your qualifications behind it. That actually makes for a good heading and is more professional and subtle. So guys, if you have curriculum vitae as the heading in your CV, you should definitely consider swapping it out for your full name, right? Another thing that should be in your CV is a professional summary, something short that basically highlights your career experiences and what you want to achieve with any organization that you're about to join. Something not too lengthy, of course, but you know, something just highlighting something just selling you to the employer and telling them why they should hire you. I feel like that's probably like the first paragraph, and it should, do justice to who you are as a person and how you will fit into their organization. So try to make the best use of those first couple of lines and just put yourself in the best light possible. So guys, professional summary is another thing that you should have in your CV. If you don't already have one, you should consider putting in one. Some other people name it objectives and all of that, but I feel like professional summary sounds professional. You get me? So yeah, you should definitely consider that. So guys, another thing that you can consider having is an headline of personal attributes. So this is just a couple of lines where you are able to highlight the things that you represent, the things that stand out for you as a person, the things that you feel like will make them want to employ you. So this is a good chance to put in a few items. This part is where you can include things like team player, goal oriented, objective oriented, sales oriented, just keywords of things that you feel like will present you in the best light possible, where you can just list a couple of items that you feel like your employer is probably looking for. So the next section that you should probably include in your CV is your list of certifications. So guys, you definitely want to list the various certifications that you have, but remember to keep it relevant to the role you are applying for. You can't list certifications that are not relevant to the role. The employer will just be like, okay, what's going on here? So yeah, the certifications have to be relevant. I know some people have like several certifications. Kudos to you guys, okay? But please remember to always keep it. Sometimes some people actually need to fine-tune their CV for every role they're applying for. They may be applying for roles that require different things, so it's important to actually just take that little time to just edit and make sure you are putting the right thing for that particular role that you're applying for. So guys, just list your certifications in I don't know, in the order of which you got them, starting with the most recent one, of course. So moving on, the next section that you should have in your CV is your list of educational achievements. So of course it should also be in the order of the most recent. So you want to list the highest qualifications that you have first, then you go down that way. But guys, there are probably some educational achievements that are probably not necessary at some certain stages of your career, right? Like maybe primary school, nursery school. Nobody really cares. So you should consider not including those if you feel like they're overcrowding your CV. Trust me, they probably don't know those schools anyway. They probably can't differentiate between school A and school B, so it doesn't help them to make any decision about your application. So really, why crowd your CV with that? So you just see, secondary school is a good place to stop. In my CV, I have my university and my secondary school in my CV, right? Fair enough, short and simple. So guys, you should definitely consider doing that as well. So last but not least, guys, is your list of experiences. So all those jobs you've been doing, all those roles you've been, working on, you should outline them in your CV and give concrete highlights of the things that you've done in those various roles, right? So I've been saying throughout this video that you should make sure that your CV sells you in the best light possible. So guys, when you are highlighting the things you've done in this role, make sure it's the great things you've done, right? Make sure it's the notable things that you've done. So you want to list all the things that you've done in these roles, and you just want to give the employer an idea of the kind of work that you've been doing in the past couple of years of your work experience. So yes guys, this is a good chance to showcase all your talents and all your job prowess, right, to the employers. So make sure you bring your A game to this part and tell them all the great things that you've been doing at your previous jobs. Okay guys, so when all is said and done, when you've put in all this, some people before I forget, some people actually put in references in their CVs, but many times organizations these days don't have the time to be reaching out to references of everybody. So you could include a line to say, references will be available on request, or you might not even put it at all. Trust me, nobody cares. Well, nobody really cares. Some people do care and they will ask you to provide references. So in that case, it has been requested and you need to give them contacts of people that can vouch for you. But without requests, really, there's really no need to include it in your CV. You could just, if at all, you could just say, oh, references will be available on request or something like that. That should work perfectly fine. I don't have any references on my CV. I used to, but not anymore. So yeah, I mean, it all depends on you and the kind of job you're applying for anyway. So yeah, you guys should definitely do what works best for you. So guys, when all of this has been said and done, you want to remember not to embellish your CV too much to the extent that you'll not be able to back up some things that are written on it. Because these days, some interviewers just open the CVs on their systems while they're interviewing you, and they'll be asking you questions directly from the CV. So when they ask you a question on something that you have written on your CV and are not able to back it up, then you know that trouble is already arising. So we want to avoid those kind of situations, right? You do not want to put something on your CV that you cannot back up or that you cannot speak to, right? So keep it honest, right? Keep yourself honest. Write things that you've done, or talk about the things that you've done, so that when you get to interview stages, you will not have situations where you're unable to answer some questions and they'll be like, oh, but you have it on your CV, and then you'll be like, so yeah, even if you are getting somebody to do your CV for you, make sure you read it and you're very familiar with the details of that CV, so that you don't have those kind of situations. All right, so what usually happens in those kind of situations where you're unable to back up something that is on your CV, the interviewer starts doubting literally everything else on your CV. They're like, oh, does this person actually have this certification they said they have, or do they really have this educational qualification that they said they have? A lot of doubt starts to creep in, and you do not want that kind of situation, right? These are things that you've worked hard for, and you do not want to create any doubt, any form of doubt around it. So it's best to be as honest as possible and do not exaggerate things on your CV. Okay, so guys, last but not the least, I've mentioned this before in a previous video, but I always say that you should try to keep your CV as short and concise and professional as possible. If possible, try to keep it to a maximum of 2 pages, if necessary 3 pages, but of course, still do what works best for you depending on your circumstances, right? Anyway, so in a bit, I'm going to show you guys the template of my CV and what I basically use. So if anybody wants me to share this CV template, please let me know in the comments and I'll be glad to share it with you. You could just use it to cross-check your own CV and just use it as a sort of benchmark. But anyway, guys, I'm going to walk you through the template of a preferred CV that you can use for UK job applications. See you guys. Hey guys, so this is the template that I have. I've already listed everything that I said in the video, and I've sort of put them together. So you can see that at the top we have the first name, surname, then put in your qualifications at the end. Then we have the sections for professional summary, key personal attributes, then a section where you can list your education and qualifications. I've mentioned there that you can separate those into 2 sections if you want. Then we have this section for career summary. So this is where you list your experience and, put in the company name, the location, the role title, put in the dates. And, like I mentioned, you should put it in the order of the most recent, starting with the most recent one, right? Then you go down and down like that. So at the bottom, if you have like lots of roles that you've been in, you can sort of just highlight them without having to write details for each line item. You'll see at the bottom. So if you have lots of really old roles, you can just list them instead of trying to put details for every single one of them, so that you don't overcrowd your CV. Then if you also have volunteer experiences, you can put it in, as well as details of any trainings that you have attended. I also put in references available on request if that is something that you want to include in your CV. Okay, so guys, we have now come to the end of this video. Don't forget to like and comment if you found any of these details useful, and also feel free to ask me any questions that you may have and I'll be more than happy to answer them. Anyway, guys, remember to turn on post notifications so that you see when I post more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.